Back again, but with a slightly different idea. Now, it's still a Lego Transformer, but it's actually a work in progress, and it's using a style of building I started using a little bit ago. And when I say a little bit ago, I probably mean like maybe like 5 months ago, 6 months. I honestly can't remember anymore. And basically, it's where if you have the inspiration to build something, but you don't have the parts, just build it anyway in like whatever random colors you have, the pieces you need in, and then just put the creation into like LDD or stud.io, and then you can translate that into a Bricklink wish list and then buy the parts that way. I actually came up with this because I had like a really big project I wanted to do for like a long time, and I finally worked on it and almost got it done, but then I just haven't gotten around to putting into a Bricklink order yet or buying it. So that I was hoping to get done by the summer, but I don't know when I'll get it done because I still have to turn it into an LDD file. So yeah, like there are other creations I've done with this. The most successful I would say is Chrome Dome, IDW Chrome Dome, which I'll put pictures up right now for, because I actually did put them into LDD and then put them into Studio and then put them onto Bricklink, and I found out it was $14 without shipping to make them, and I was going to do that, but then I just like basically Transformers collecting happened. So yeah, but Chrome Dome's not the thing I'm trying to show here. This is actually a work in progress, and I say work in progress, but it's basically done. A work in progress miniature The Last Night Optimus Prime. Now, obviously, as I said, I just kind of built it with whatever pieces I had and whatever colors I had, and you can tell. Now, there might be some things that I change as time goes on, like before I actually try and order the pieces, whenever that happens. But yeah, for now, this is basically complete, and you can obviously see there's like stuff like this, where this is just missing a piece because I just couldn't find another one by one, and I didn't feel like scouring a bins for it. So yeah, this is a little tiny. Well, I say tiny, but like for how big Optimus is, it's kind of tiny. A little tiny Last Night Optimus Prime, or Age of Extinction. I'm just calling it Last Night because that's the new one, and it'll probably get more searches and more views if it's Last Night. Ha ha. But yeah, I'm actually really happy with how this guy turned out because, as you can see, he has like zero backpack other than this panel, which just kind of has to hang out back there. He's just kind of got like, his legs are kind of a bit chunky on the back, but nothing horrible. And his arms, they're just arms, you know. His sword is pretty basic. I don't know if this is really the sword design I would keep. It's just a, I'll take it apart right now actually. It's a single one of these treadlink pieces with then one of these Exoforce droid arms shoved through it. One of these studs with a hole in it put on that end, and then a 1x8 tile clipped into the clip, and then you have a pretty good sword. And he kind of just broke there, as my creations tend to do. He can hold it in his arms, in his hand, I mean. And yeah, I tried building the shield kind of, and it sort of worked, sort of didn't. Obviously, since he only has one arm, because that's another part of how I build these whips, I basically only built half of them, so I have more parts to use, because if I built both halves, then I have to make sure I have two of every piece I use, and that can get tedious. Like obviously, as you can see here, like I'll build, if I have just the parts there, I'll build some of the other limb, just, you know, so like it can stand or whatever. But as long as it's a character that's symmetrical, so I know it'll work by only testing it with one arm. Like if it was someone like Beast Wars Megatron, obviously I would have to have both arms because I wouldn't know if it would work if I just had no tail. So yeah, but because this guy's completely symmetrical, I can have one arm, and I know for sure the other arm would work just fine in the transformation, because obviously it's the exact same thing, just mirrored. So yeah, speaking of transformation, actually let's not get into it. I have to show articulation. That's one thing I'm kind of happy about, because this guy's actually fairly articulated. I'd argue more articulated than my G1, probably, and he's got like a way more advanced transformation, which is kind of funny. His head can rotate, look up, look down, all that stuff. He can look at things. His shoulders are easily the weakest part of the transformation, the articulation, I mean, because they can go up, they can go forward, but they can't turn. You can kind of futz with them and make it look like he's kind of raising his arm like that, which I suppose works. These shoulder pads aren't amazing. If this were like a larger figure, these arms would fold in and these would fold down and then it would raise. But obviously it's tiny, so it just kind of gets the point across of, yes, there's a shoulder pad on the shoulder. And then he's got the elbow pretty high up the arm, but it's good enough. Gets 90. Then he's got bicep rotation. If it didn't come off the clip. Yeah, and then he's got the waggle in the wrist as well as rotation, so he can, kind of get some decent, like, kind of sword wielding poses. Though his sword kind of looks like trash as his arm falls off. So yeah, let's get that sword off there, because although I do like the parts usage I used on the sword, it's not the best looking, so I might try and look into a better way to build it. But yeah, now then, at his waist, he's got a ball joint, which means he can actually do like crunches, sort of, and like thrust, and he can rotate. Then at his legs, he's got ball joints, so he cannot achieve full Van Damme, but he can do that, which I think is pretty good, considering that these skirts, which are supposed to be blue, but they're yellow, those skirts are completely immobile and just kind of have to, like, try and not get in the way. These skirts on the front can be brought out to the sides, so then these can be rotated, and then you can adjust them to put them as far into the middle as possible. And as you can see, he can kick his leg all the way up without looking horrible, like without completely destroying the way his crotch looks, since, yeah, it brings that up, but like at least it's still in the right place, kinda. So without completely destroying his crotch, unlike my G1 version. Then his knee is also a ball joint, so you can swivel it, obviously. You can bend it, and it only gets like that much bend, but if you bring the foot out slightly, that'll allow you to bring this panel out, and you can get the 90, which I think is pretty cool. Then, if you bring them all the way down, you have a tiny, tiny bit of ankle tilt, which is just kind of enough to sort of set him on the ground. And as you can see, obviously, he's... don't break off. He's got a decent amount of heel. Now, on to the transformation this time. Seriously. So yeah, on to the transformation, which is pretty complicated. And I'm honestly not sure where to start on this. I guess the legs. You're going to want to come to the back here and flip this out. Not popping it off. And then just rotate it like that. Just get it out of the way. You can come to these side panels. Bring them out of the way. And then you can come to the inside of the ankle and bring out this. And then you want to take the joint it's on, click it out, and then rotate this. Rotate the foot like that, and then there you go. Now then, you want to come here and very carefully, don't break it. Very carefully slide this out, and then it really does kind of stress the connection, but you can actually rotate it like that and then slide it back down and then rotate it. And then you can fold that in. And if I rotate it like that, rotate like that, you can start to see the front of a truck forming. Then this comes down. That slides into place. That comes down. And oh, what the heck? Stuff's just coming off. Yeah, you have more or less the front of the truck mode formed out of his lower ankle, his like shin. There you go. Now then, this is kind of complicated because, well, not complicated, this is just somewhat hard to do with just how everything moves. You want to get this skirt out of the way, and then get it past, and this whole chunk flips over, and as you can see, that's actually the back of the truck. So, yeah, he has tiny wheels, completely because of how small this guy has to be. In order to have these wheels actually fit into the thighs, it just had to be like that, sadly. But yeah, that's the back of the truck. And obviously, if the other leg were complete, it would do the exact same thing, and you can kind of see, obviously these have to rotate out. You can see that's how the truck will be in. As you can kind of tell, this guy sort of follows the kind of movie Optimus Prime, Revenge of the Fallen transformation scheme of having the whole, like the whole bottom half of the truck become the legs. So yeah, something I think works pretty well actually for this design, since it gives a lot of, it means that the legs can just have all the truck junk you're not supposed to see get hidden in them. And I would love to see like a larger figure that's more detailed and has more like ability to make room in the thigh to have this similar kind of thigh flip transformation with the back of the truck. It just obviously is less kind of interesting on this guy because it's so abstract and small because he's tiny. So then you want to rotate him at the waist. And there you go. Now then, the whole, like his chest unpegs from the back of his torso. And then his boobs, or moobs I should say, come out, rotate, and slide. And this is one part I actually really like. His little chesticles he has do actually end up on the side of the nose of the truck like they're supposed to, unlike every other representation of this character I've seen, whether in Lego or in the actual like official figure form. So yeah, now to, you wanna, okay, now, yeah, okay, for a second there I was just kind of frozen there thinking, what do I do next? You wanna bring the legs forward, then bring them back on the waist section, and then bring them forward again, and that will bring the legs into place. Might require a little bit of fiddling to get everything lined up, but there you can see the front of the truck starting to form up, and now you can actually flip out the back of the truck Oh, I just realized I never actually showed off that he had a sheath on the back of his robot mode. Basically, that was on his back, and you could peg his sword onto it. But yeah, now then, you're going to want to actually get this out of the way, and then come here, do that, then rotate it back out. And then you can do that. And there. Or if you wanted to, you could actually do that. It really just depends on what you want. I tend to do that just so it kind of actually implies there's some structure. It's off screen. It actually implies that there's some structure to this whole inside area, and not just a gigantic gap, even though there are still some pretty big gaps in the back, sadly. Again, there's just not enough room on such a small figure to fit in all the stuff to fill in those gaps. There we go. Now his head has to compress a bit. Basically just bring down his ears, rotate the top, bring it in, and then you can bring this panel over and then start to fold it over. And then you want to bring this forward, rotate it like that, and then you want to bring these out, rotate like that, and then you want to rotate this one. No, stop. You want to rotate that 180, fold it, and then you can bring this all down and into place. And if you're lucky, you can get that to peg in, but I'm not going to bother trying because it doesn't always work, and it just causes more trouble than it's worth. So yeah, just leave it out. Then you can take this panel, which was the side of the leg, rotate it 90 degrees, and click it in. Then last but not least, you're going to want to bring that down, bring it as close to possible, and bring it down. Bring it as close as possible and bring it down. And then another last but not least there, because I already said it, but another one, just peg the sword in on the bottom. There you go. Now, I know it doesn't exactly look like a truck right now because it's in like the absolute wrong colors, but there you have the truck mode, and it's a bit kind of chibi looking and all that, but again, it's the scale and all that, and excuses, all that jazz. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty good, honestly, in my opinion, for like what's like for the scale and how it looks in robot mode. Obviously, this is way too chunked out back here, and these should probably be longer. But yeah, like I think it looks pretty good for what it is. I might make these slightly bulkier so then they look more normal and natural in robot mode. It all depends. But yeah, as I said during the transformation, I believe, he has some tiny little wheels. But yeah, obviously this control panel, it would be the windshield on the final project, and it would be black. And obviously this whole side of the truck is just nothing because it's a work in progress. So yeah, when will I actually finish this and have it in the proper colors? No clue. Hopefully sooner than later. One cool thing is I don't know if I mentioned it in my Nitro video, but so far all of my last night Transformers have been in scale with Aeronobilus's stuff, or at least like in scale. Like they were, if you put them next to them, it would look like it was kind of, they were meant to be. Obviously, like with real vehicle scales, who knows? because I doubt Nitro's jet would be that small, you know, stuff like that. But in terms of robot modes, I'd say they were probably in scale. So far they've been in scale. This one, you'd think not so much, but I can't say because obviously I don't believe he's finished it, and obviously I haven't seen it, but I believe this would probably scale pretty well with his Grimlock MOC, so I guess you could say I'm 3 for 3 with having them scale with his stuff. Or you could say I'm just making stuff up to make this fit in with my other stuff. I mean, one thing it would definitely fit in with if I still had it made would be my Evasion Mode Optimus Prime, who was actually in a similar color scheme, though he was actually like a uniform gray, and he had bigger wheels, which would kind of look weird, but he would be in like a similar scale, and they would have probably looked cool together if it weren't for the fact I took that thing apart a long time ago. Actually, you know what? Just for a size reference with a real Transformer, since I had this thing laying around because I found it in a bin a while ago, there you have him next to a Legends Optimus Prime. And just for a bit of a reference, I don't have a picture of this, but if I remember correctly, I was like putting this guy next to people, and I think he was the same height as this guy. So I didn't see, he's about as long and a little bit taller and just thicker than this guy. He's definitely thicker. But he turns from basically like a fairly large Cyberverse Commander vehicle mode to a fairly small deluxe robot mode. So it's kind of a bit math shifty. Not really noticeable enough. But yeah. Anyways, just one last comparison, because this is also something I found next to a Legends car. You can see I don't know how that scale is. I feel like the car's probably too big for him. But yeah, enough padding run times. This is already going to take long enough to upload. Yeah, there you go. That is work in progress miniature The Last Knight Optimus Prime.